Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. We recently got even more details on Call of Duty 2026, aka Modern Warfare 4, in regards of what to expect with the game, some major changes and shifts happening with the game, and the most important of all, at least in my opinion, the future of Warzone and potentially the end of Warzone. And we're not exaggerating with that either. This report is stemming from the Ghost of Hope, who has been very credible when it comes to his inside information and leaks over the course of some time now, and he's also been posting a lot about future updates for Call of Duty as of late. And a few days back, he posted this: exclusive details for Modern Warfare 4, aka COD 2026. And what we get from this little rundown here is pretty crazy. First and foremost, no old gen support. So this is something that's obviously an ongoing controversial topic. It has been for a little bit. How much longer can Call of Duty continue to push games live on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One? That is tech that is a decade plus old at this point. It is absolutely limiting what they're able to do with the games now in terms of advancing graphics and all sorts of mechanical things with the game, because it has to function on, the brand new PCs, a 5090 build PC, and then a PlayStation 5 Pro, and then an Xbox Series X, and then a decade-old PlayStation 4 and a decade-old Xbox One, all simultaneously, right? It's the same game being played across the board. Now, your experiences will vary drastically depending on that. If you're playing on a maxed out PC, a $6,000, $7,000 PC, you're going to have a very, very, strong experience there in terms of stability and frames and everything there. Your graphics are going to look great, versus a PlayStation 4, where it's going to look like Play-Doh a lot, and it's probably going to stutter, and the performance is going to be really, really rough. But it's still the same game being played, and they have to make it playable for all of that, because they've got a huge chunk of the players still playing on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. However, it does seem that COD 2025 will be one that still does support last gen, as we've talked about a bit before, but then going into COD 2026 with this next title, Modern Warfare 4, old gen will no longer be supported. Now, Hope also says there's going to be a traditional UI update similar to older games, more traditional than Black Ops 6. So the Black Ops 6 menu, it's a bit more of that classic, like, vertical, more basic UI, not like what we had with Modern Warfare 2 and everything going on there, but more traditional than that. I think references, menus and UI like Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3, older COD titles like that, where the UI was a lot more straightforward, simple to navigate. There wasn't all these extra menus and sub menus and cross launch and this and that and everything else. We'll have to see what all stems from that, but that's a bit smaller in comparison to some of these other things, but still something that I think COD has been, wanting to revert on since it all backfired with Modern Warfare 2022. Hope also says the engine is being overhauled. It's interesting terminology there, to address MW2 problems like visual clutter, etc. So it's obviously been a main conversation for some time of when you compare older CODs, when I say older, I mean like MW 2019, Cold War, particularly the Warzone versions of those games, to Warzone now. Every time I use old B-roll from Warzone 1 in the videos where we react to old gameplay, I see so many of you guys commenting saying, it is crazy that Modern Warfare Warzone, Modern Warfare 2019 or Cold War Warzone looks so much better than Warzone 2 or, Black Ops 6 Warzone right now. And it's very obvious that it does. And that's because of the MW2 engine and what they added visually, I guess, with those updates here. So this, I don't know if it'd be a full engine update, because like I said, the terminology here is interesting. An engine overhaul. Is that an upgrade to the next version of the Call of Duty engine, or is that just simply reworking a ton of things that make the game seemingly look worse than, older versions of COD? So that'll be interesting, but also something that in theory should go over pretty well, because everyone's been asking, why don't games look as good as MW 2019 did despite the newer tech and the newer engine? And personally, I'm just ignorant to a lot of that stuff. I am not, well versed in that level of, the tech there behind the scenes and everything, but it's something that's very apparent to a lot of players. So them actually going through and addressing that could be a pretty big deal for sure. Another interesting thing going on is that the game is apparently being developed on dev kits for the next Xbox, and this could actually be a huge advantage that Microsoft has now owning Activision and Blizzard and King, right? With the next Call of Duties coming out in the future for next generation consoles, whatever it's going to be, the Xbox 720 or who knows what else, being able to have direct hands on that next gen tech with Call of Duty here being made on the dev kits for that game probably means that the game on Xbox is going to have certain details, maybe a certain smoothness to it that might not be there on the next gen version of a PlayStation right away. That earlier experience and hands-on time with the next gen Xbox as opposed to the next gen PlayStation 5 might lead to Microsoft sort of having a one-up on PlayStation in the experience there. Obviously, it's still going to be close because the tech will likely be similar, but it is something to note. There could be, a big advantage there that the Xbox versions of the game have, and that could be something that Xbox kind of goes all in on. If it's a day one supported game or something like what other rumors have said previously, could be big for Xbox, whose console sales certainly don't live up to PlayStation's, and I think they've actually been dwindling for some time now. Like, they're not able to sell Xbox consoles as well anymore. So if there is advantages to this stemming from Xbox owning Call of Duty now, would certainly be interesting to see how that plays out. But then the last tick here, before we go into some other details that Hope mentions in the replies to this tweet, is on the future of Warzone. There will be no Warzone 3 or a continued version of Warzone, essentially. We had Warzone just in and of itself, Warzone 1, MW 2019 Cold War Vanguard, then Warzone 2, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, currently in Black Ops 6, and presumably it'll continue with Black Ops 7 or COD 2025 here this fall/winter. But then if the engine's being updated or overhauled for COD 2026, that's when the next version of Warzone would drop, Warzone 3. However, if Verdansk fails to retain players long term with its return here, or it fails to bring back a ton of players, they might not continue support for Warzone anymore, which would be huge, at least in the form of Warzone 3. This could mean a couple of different things, and we just don't have the specifics on it now, but this could mean Warzone in and of itself would be done in COD 2026 if Verdansk can't cause a resurgence, which that's a lot riding on Verdansk, and I mean, the state of the game is not great. A map itself will not save the game, and I have stressed this fact so many times in videos over the past couple of weeks and months. Verdansk as a map is not the end-all be-all solve for the issues with Warzone. They seem to think that they can just ignore all of that if they shine Verdansk. Hey, look, shiny new toy. It's like we're all kittens playing with like the strings and whatnot. Hey, don't mind the mess over there. Look at the fancy string flying around. Go catch that. Go play with that, right? Like, no, Verdansk is not the end-all be-all answer for the issues. So if it doesn't have some huge success, which personally I'm hoping it does, it'd be awesome if Verdansk launched, and hopefully the delay for season 3 means that it can launch in a really good state. But if it doesn't, and it can't sustain players, and it doesn't bring back a huge resurgence in the player count, they might be stopping that support for yearly Warzone integrations. Now, that could be entirely Warzone just stops. They don't see more future updates for it, which I think would be a huge miss for COD, because Warzone being the only free-to-play element of the main games is a massive chunk of revenue, is a massive chunk of the player base as well. So you take that away, and you think COD's in a bad state now, those numbers I feel like would probably plummet even further. Their revenue reports would look even worse long-term. Or, better yet, something that should have been done probably with Warzone 2, is that Warzone shifts away from being connected. So there's Warzone 2, Warzone 3, Warzone 4, and instead is just Warzone, a standalone option, which is long overdue, as we've discussed in videos previously, but something that I think would solve ultimately a ton of problems with the game, where it doesn't have to conform in a very short period of time to whatever the next Call of Duty is. While these premium titles have 2, 3, 4 years to be developed, the new Warzone integration has half that, 9 months or so with Raven at the helm there, which is just not enough time in comparison to solve all the issues that arise to fully develop something and expect it to be great at launch, like a version of the game that is made in 3 or 4 years like the premium titles are. So really interesting there that the end of Warzone has actually been leaked in a sense, but as mentioned, Hope does provide a few more details in the replies to this tweet as well. So as I was alluding to earlier, the game being developed on a dev kit for the next generation Xbox could provide some advantages for Microsoft and for Call of Duty directed towards Xbox players here. Someone does reply saying, the greatest play in my opinion is COD 2026 will run like butter on a new Xbox and probably a little bit worse on like a PlayStation 5 Pro. Plus they have the graphical and performance edge for any mainstream game that launches, even if they aren't exclusive, because they're familiar with that tech if they're creating games on the dev kit there. And Hope says, yeah, this pretty much. So there certainly is advantages to that that'll be more apparent once we actually have hands-on in several years' time. And then as far as general gameplay goes, this is a leak and a rumor that we've heard sort of reiterated a few times now, and hope once again feeds into that. Someone responding saying this gameplay is supposed to be faster than in the MW2 feel, right? Like I certainly expect there to be some skepticism around the next Infinity Ward title given the mess that MW2 was, but with the game supposedly being faster than MW2, more like MW3, Hope says it'll have wall running and omni movement similar to Black Ops 7. So whatever we see with COD 2025 in terms of the movement and the updates there, that'll likely be similar in COD 2026, if not refined a little bit more and fine-tuned. If they overdo the wall running element in Black Ops 7 here in, a few months time later this year, this winter or fall, then they can tone it down a little bit for MW4, right? They can adjust based on feedback there. But what we see in Black Ops 7 reportedly is going to be continued into Modern Warfare 4. But certainly some interesting details here, particularly on the future and sort of the end of Warzone potentially, depending on how things go here in the next few months. Season 3 is going to be a lot more important to Call of Duty as a whole than we initially realized with the return of Verdansk. But that being said, that's going to wrap things up for this one. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always seriously appreciated. And if you are new to the channel, you want to guarantee that every single day you are in the know for everything going on in COD, this is the place to be, so feel free to hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.